you turn me down once more, I'll join the French Foreign Legion. Bet you they would welcome me with open arms. First you love me, yes, then you love me, no, I don't know where I stand. Do we march together down the aisle, or do I march that desert sand? If you think I won't find romance in the French Foreign Legion, think about that uniform with all its charm. Just one more time, are you gonna be mine? Or au revoir, chérie. It's the French Foreign Legion for me. Now, if you think I won't find romance in the French Foreign Legion, think about that uniform with all its charm. Just one more time, are you gonna be mine? Au revoir, Sadie. It's the French Foreign Legion for me. When I was 17, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for small town girls and soft summer nights. We'd hide from the light on the village green. When I was 17.
Saquon Barkley can't wait to try Little Caesar's new cheesesteak Crazy Puffs for only $3.99.
Can I take a little nibble?
Let me show the delicious sliced steak and onions first.
Now?
Okay, you deserve it. Get new cheesesteak Crazy Puffs for $3.99. Little Caesar's is the real deal.
Pizza, pizza.
When I was 21, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for city girls who lived up the stair with all that perfumed hair. And it came undone when I was 21. When I was 35, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for blue-blooded girls of independent means. We'd ride in limousines. Their chauffeurs would drive. When I was 35, days are short. I'm in the autumn of the year, and now I think of my life as vintage wine from fine old cakes, from the brim to the dregs. It poured sweet and clear. It was a very good year. That old black magic that you weave so well, those icy fingers up and down the spine, same old witchcraft when your eyes meet mine, same old tingle that I feel inside. Then that elevator starts its ride.
אשרי האיש אשר לא הלך בעצת רשעים ובדרך חטאים לא עמד ובמושב לצים לא ישב כי אם בתורת אדוני חפצו ובתורתו יומם ולילה והיה כעד שתול על פלגי מים אשר פריו ייתן ביתו ועליהו לא ייפול וכל אשר יעשה יצליח לכן הרשעים כי הם כמוץ אשר תדפנו רוח על כן לא יקומו רשעים במשפט וחטאים בעדת צדיקים כי יודע אדוני דרך צדיקים ודרך רשעים תאבד.
Kol omer kra va'amar ma'ekra. Kol habasar chatzir, v'chol chasto ketzitz hasadeh, yavesh chatzir novel tzitz ki ruach Adonai nashva bo. A voice says, cry out. But I ask, what shall I cry? All flesh is like grass, and all of its beauty is like the flower of the field. The grass withers, and the flower fades, when a wind from God blows upon it. Surely, therefore, people are like grass. The grass withers, and the flower fades. But the word of God endures forever. LeDavid Mizmor, L'Adonai ha'aretz umloa, tevel v'yoshveva, ki hu hayamim yisada, v'al nehorot yichoneneha. Mi ya'aleh bahar Adonai, u'mi yakum bimkom kadsho. Neki chapayim uvar levav, asher lo nasa lashav nafshi v'lo nishba lemirma. The earth is the Lord's, with all of its fullness. The world is the Lord's, with all of its inhabitants. Who may ascend the mountain of the Lord? Who may stand in the holy place? He who has clean hands and a pure heart. He will receive a blessing from the Lord and a just reward from the God of deliverance. The greatest compliment I can give Armin, your husband, your father, your grandfather, greatest compliment I can give him is that so many people were absolutely shocked that he had passed away. Absolutely shocked. 95 years old, with a lot of medical uncertainties, and people were stunned, because he lived life so fully for as long as he could. You told me he thought he would never die. He saw himself as 59 and not 95. I think a lot of people believed him. I mean, this is remarkable. In my last few days, in my travels, I heard things like I had just spoken to him. I had just seen him. We had just talked together. He had this idea. And this all came to me in the last few days. And what fascinates me about him is that here is a man who had experienced a very unique past. There's no question that that past influenced him, to be sure, motivated him absolutely. But he made sure not to live in the past. He absolutely lived in the present. He remembered hiding in the temple at age 8 during Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass. He remembered the principal of his school in a Nazi uniform, telling all the Jews that they were permanently dismissed from school. He remembered being sent to Switzerland with his brother by his parents shortly before the borders were closed and having to meet up with his parents a year later. He would certainly speak and enjoy teaching groups about the Holocaust, felt it was very important. And yet, at the same time, he lived in the present. He was an optimist. He saw the glass half full. I know, Charlotte, when you and Armin came and spoke to me, you told me he was the biggest optimist you ever met. He didn't take no for an answer. With his unique past, a lot of people would take no for an answer. And he never took no for an answer. He was gregarious and kind, warm and helpful. He didn't let the past deprive him of his hope. Quite the opposite. His past was the motivation for him to live life to the fullest. If Jews had to learn how to hide and how to be afraid back then, there was going to be no more hiding and no more being afraid for Armin in the present. He was active. He loved sports. He loved tennis, skiing. You two biked across Europe. He was ambitious. He built up his company, 100 salespeople and 5 offices. He was a successful realtor, and he worked on behalf of fair housing for minorities. He was an advocate for minorities. He was an active parent, always present for your activities, coached you in sports. You all felt that he supported you in the different directions that you took. And I know each of you will have more details about your own relationship, but you felt that whether it was because you went your own way and you were going to find your own path, or whether you stayed in the business, or whether you moved out of town or in town, he was in your corner. He loved seeing who you became because of you. And he was willing to not only guide you, but just appreciate who you were as individuals. And always you knew that he loved you. You knew how important you were to him, and you knew how much he loved you. I know he spent long days and hours out of the house, but when he was in the house, he was with you, he was focused on you. And he had an incredible memory for detail. And he was also, as you all know, a very empathetic person. He felt a responsibility to help others in the family to have good lives. And he had lifelong friends. Lifelong friends. He was the family patriarch, a role model, deserving of respect. Deserving of respect for what he went through as a boy, but the respect not only because he went through what he did as a boy, but because of how he reacted to it. It's not just that his Jewish legacy was an important part of his story. It's that he wanted that Jewish legacy to continue in the family for years to come. In other words, the past was ingrained in him, but he lived in the present. I also find it very moving that the grandchildren kept remembering how much he wanted to listen to their lives, not necessarily be the one talking. I mean, he could be very gregarious, as you know, on the one hand, but he was more than happy to give space to somebody else, to listen as well as to speak. Your grandpa was so happy to be with you. Whoever there's grandpa. There you are. Okay, good. I lost you. Your grandpa, you know how he was so happy to be with you. He saw you as the apex of what he was doing every day. He always wanted to know what you were doing, be able to offer suggestion, but really listening gave him his greatest pleasure. Armin lived every day of his life, going to the College World Series, traveling to spring training in his 90s. I guess you could say he wanted to play every inning of every game. I mean, this was the man who drove you all out when you were kids to Yellowstone. He was the driver when you were all younger. He was the same man who still drove to work in his 90s. It was the same man giving life the same energy and the same courage. He was not going to live in fear, and he was not going to hide in the present. That was history. Hiding and fear was in the past. In the present, he was going to live. Special man who lived every day. As the expression goes, he was blessed. He was blessed to find himself in the driver's seat, surrounded by the respect and the pride of his family and his identity. Charlotte, I'm glad your mother liked him all those years back. At first you thought he was too old for you. We can't blame you. You were still in high school. But that led to 64 years of marriage. And as your kids pointed out, you don't go through 64 years of marriage without a tremendous respect for each other. You enjoyed each other. You appreciated each other. You supported each other. You learned from each other. And you admired each other. And you worked together. It's one of the best things one can say is, I can learn from my partner. I can learn from my spouse. They do it differently, and I can learn from that. It's a wonderful tribute. You shared values and priorities. You two gave back to the community. And your love continued to grow and grow in your years together. And your imprint on your kids and Armin's imprint on your kids is unmistakable. Now, everybody loved your husband. Everyone who met him saw his warmth. Everyone who met him saw his kindness, his decency, his goodness, except Abby, the first time you met him. You did not. We call that an anomaly. It was good. It's good. We're good. One meeting, it was okay. I just want to close. Kol Nidre is the holiest day of the Jewish year. It is when we are supposed to give an accounting of ourselves. Every Kol Nidre, every Yom Kippur, we're supposed to render an accounting of ourselves. And the prayer, Kol Nidre, asks God to forgive us for any promises or vows that we may make in the coming year that we are not going to be able to complete, for promises that might be broken in the coming year. Let me tell you, Armin fulfilled every promise he made. And Armin fulfilled every vow that he made. He didn't need to say that prayer this year. He dies with his ledger clean. His accounting is just where it has to be, knowing the kind of life he lived. There was no need for that prayer this year. He lived with a good name, and he died with a good name. I want to call on members of the family who are going to come forward.
My name's John Guggenheim. I'm Armin's son, for those of you who don't know me. And I better take out my piece of paper. Dad was a really good speaker, and he used to have a book of jokes that he would start his speeches off with. I'm not going to tell any jokes, but Mom, you said 3 minutes, and it's going to be 6. I'm going to talk to you today about some of the things my father enjoyed and some of the things he taught me. But first, I want to express just how grateful I am to have had him as my father. And I have that same gratitude for you, Mom. And much of what I'm going to say today applies to both of you. After all, your life stories are intertwined through your love for each other, your accomplishments, joys and celebrations. And when life's challenges presented themselves, you work through them together. Mom, there's no doubt that you will feel the loss of Dad's presence the most. However, you won't be alone as you head back into the world. Dad had a fundamental understanding of what was important in life, and family was at the top of that list. It's easy to see that Dad passed that priority to us. It's been beautiful to watch as the family has gathered, not only to support you, Mom, but to look after each other. And I want to thank all of you who are here today. It means a lot. Dad embraced his role as head of the household with both seriousness and enthusiasm. The seriousness was a result of his escape from Nazi Germany. He understood the dangers of the world, and he always did his best to protect us from them. He not only looked after my mom, their parents, and my siblings, he, along with my uncles, were really there for the entire family. My parents hosted countless family gatherings, and usually Dad would give a speech. And almost all the speeches focused on gratitude to be surrounded by loved ones, and an appreciation for the gifts that life had bestowed upon us, along with an understanding that not everyone was so fortunate. His speeches often referred to current events, and his desire to stay informed continued until his final days. He might not have got his news from the newspaper anymore. He got it off his computer. But he embraced the myriad of technological advances that occurred during his long life. He was blessed with tremendous health, and possibly he was dealt a great hand, but he also worked hard on it. He always said that if you don't have your health, nothing else matters. He embraced physical fitness throughout his life, playing sports with his childhood friends, running and exercising almost every day, bike riding and going to the gym. And during my childhood, Dad was the adult who threw the football or baseball around with the neighborhood kids. And he passed that on to me. I'm always sitting at the kids' table. Later in life, John Lee's Tai Chi classes had a lot to do with his ability to remain active through his last days. And John, if you're here, I thank you for that. Dad loved playing tennis and skiing, but I think he loved the social aspect of them just as much. A visit from Cousin Ben wasn't complete without a match at the neighborhood court. Julie Rubin, you're Dad's tennis soulmate. And if you're tuning in from Scottsdale, I don't need to tell you how much Dad enjoyed being a part of your tennis group, both on and off the court. We joined him on the slopes with dear family friends, the Chelms and the Meshes, and his National Association of Realtors crew, and I'll always cherish the family ski weekends at Peak and Peak, where he got to ski with the grandkids. Dad not only played hard, he worked hard, a characteristic he shared with his brother Howard. I never asked them where their work ethic came from. I know they both loved what they were doing, but I suspect that some of it was because, like many immigrants, they deeply understood the opportunities provided by their new country. Dad was a people person. A meal at Corky and Lenny's was always an adventure, as Dad stopped at just about every table to say hi to a friend. I think you all have some relatives like that too. Dad wasn't just a friend in good times. The downside of a long life is watching your friends go through hard times. And he was constantly visiting friends in hospitals or nursing homes, and he felt true empathy for each and every one of his friends who was struggling. Dad grew up in a time where certain things were expected of young men. He tried to teach me to stand up straight, look people in the eye when you speak with them, greet people with a firm handshake, and to be a gentleman. He advised me to imagine what I wanted to be doing 5 years down the road. And most importantly, he told me to value my word. Before I finish, I'd like to say something to Haley, Jamie, and Ryan. Dad loved each of his family members and friends, but outside of Mom, his greatest love was for you. You brought Dad so much joy with each and every visit, conversation, experience, and accomplishment. You will be able not to just remember his love for you. If you pay just the slightest bit of attention, you'll still be able to see, hear, and feel that love in Grandma's eyes, voice, and hugs. For she loves you in exactly the same way Grandpa did. I feel that asking for another moment with my father would be just plain greedy. We were blessed to have him for so long. However, Dad didn't feel the same. He expressed to me several times this year how time passes too quickly. He truly loved life. Dad, I miss you already, and I'm going to miss you every day for the rest of my days. But it's also hard to be sad. You gave all of us more than anyone could dare hope for. You lived a fantastic life. So today, let's celebrate his life. Well played, Dad, in the biggest game of all. You won. I'm Michael, number 2. I'd also like to thank all of you for coming this morning. It means so much to all of us. About 10 years ago, my father and I traveled to Shreveport, Louisiana, to participate in the city's Yom HaShoah Memorial. We were invited by my father's cousin, who asked him to be the keynote speaker at the event. My father worked tirelessly preparing a PowerPoint presentation filled with photos, documents, and letters he had collected over the years. The event took place in a beautiful Baptist church, and as you can imagine, most of the audience that day was not Jewish. He titled his speech, "My Lucky Life." He had written it carefully so it matched each slide of his presentation. I could tell he was excited, but also nervous, worried about keeping the slides in sync. So I said, "Dad, just put the speech in your pocket and speak from your heart. I'll take care of the slides for you." And that's exactly what he did. He gave such an emotional speech, sharing what it was like to grow up in 1930s Nazi Germany. He spoke about being told he was no longer welcome in his elementary school, about hiding in his synagogue during Kristallnacht, and about leaving Germany to live in Switzerland until his parents could secure papers to immigrate to the United States. He showed pictures of his school class, his parents' immigration papers, letters from my grandmother to her relatives who perished, and other artifacts from his childhood in Germany. He then spoke about the challenges of coming to a foreign country, not speaking a word of English, and learning to adapt to a new culture at the age of 10. He ended the talk by sharing how his life unfolded here, spending summers playing basketball and waitering in the Adirondacks, graduating from the University of Michigan, starting his real estate business, Guggenheim Realty, meeting and marrying my mother, and raising 3 children. Despite all of the hardships his family endured, he never felt life had dealt him a short stick. With the support of his parents, he was driven to get a college degree and build a meaningful career. He loved traveling, skiing all over the world, and playing tennis, which, by the way, as you heard, he was still doing earlier this year. He loved selling real estate, so much so that friends and even strangers would come up to me and say, "Your dad sold us our house." He was a loyal fan of the Browns, Cavaliers, I think Indians, or maybe Guardians. Both. But most importantly, of his beloved Wolverines. Sorry. Go Blue! Sorry, Buckeye fans. But above all, he loved being with family. From unforgettable trips to Israel, Aspen, Germany, Florida, and Yellowstone, to coaching our youth baseball teams, he was happiest when we were all together. My dad shared his story many times at my daughter's Chabad in Athens, Ohio, and recently at my cousin's son's high school in Morgantown, West Virginia.
He believed deeply in the importance of sharing his story and showing gratitude for life. That was the essence of my dad. He lived and spoke straight from the heart. Dad, as much as you titled your speech, My Lucky Life, I have to say, this has been really our lucky life. My dad often began his speeches by reciting the poem, The Man in the Glass. The poem was a guiding light for him, a reminder to always look in the mirror, take responsibility, stay positive, and live with integrity. He believed in building strong, lifelong friendships, serving his community and profession through leadership and philanthropy, and living life with no excuses. My dad was a man of character, integrity, and ethics. He truly believed there was no cheating the man in the glass. He got the most out of his 95 years, whether on the tennis court, in the office, or surrounded by family. He will be deeply missed, but his legacy will live on in each of us for many, many years to come. Love you, Dad.
My father expressed gratitude for living a long and fulfilling life, as John and Michael stated. He shared his life journey with diverse audiences, as Michael just described. The title of the presentation, which he gave frequently, was Lucky Me. Today's theme is Lucky Us. The life my parents created together was enriching and adventurous. Mother, you were by Dad's side, and without a strong woman, there isn't a strong man. Thank you. My dad was one of a kind. He possessed many talents and passions. I recall sitting at his office as a young girl, picking up the book, The Power of Positivity. The entire book was highlighted in yellow, and he had a list of goals. He accomplished all of those goals, including climbing the Matterhorn and tracing his German roots with his family. Fond memories with my father include being appointed as the first Shaker Heights Little League female baseball player, earning the highest batting average. He included walks, thank you, Dad. Skiing black diamonds in Aspen, playing competitive tennis, knowing my dad was a threat, regardless of his age, hiking hanging lakes, praying he wasn't going to fall off the cliff, and watching Alcaraz beat Sinner recently. Dad, thank you for being the greatest father, role model, and inspiration. Your vibrant spirit shines eternally.
We do?
I think it's fine. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Haley, and this is Jamie and Ryan, and we are all fortunate enough to call Armin our grandpa. To know him was to love him. To say that we are lucky to be his grandchildren is an understatement. Grandpa always had a way of leading important life lessons by example. He instilled in me a very special example of strength, wisdom, love, and athleticism. One of the things I admired most about Grandpa was his zest for life. This man just loved life. He was so excited by all that life could offer and was able to rekindle all life experiences with a lesson and gratitude, something that I admire so much and try to follow in my own life. The most important lesson I have learned from Grandpa is the importance of family. There was nothing he loved more than when our family was together. As he would always say, being together was the only medicine he ever needed. He and Grandma always told the three of us that he felt best when we were all together. He made Jamie, Ryan, and I feel so loved and special, truly just like the most prized possessions. For the rest of my life, I will hear you singing, "I'm your Yankee Doodle Dandy," on my birthday every year, and will continually hear you saying, "I love your smile," as a reminder to smile through life's ups and downs. He answered every single FaceTime by telling me, "I just love your smile." I truly believe I get my smile from him because no one made me laugh and smile more. So, Grandpa, I love your smile. Your smile is always the first picture that comes to my mind when I think of you. I will continue to carry your advice and guidance through the joys and challenges that life has to offer. This quote is one of my favorites as it encompasses who Grandpa was to the three of us. Grandfathers have ears that truly listen, arms that always hold, love that's never ending, and a heart that is made of gold. I love you, Grandpa.
As Haley said, first and foremost, I love you and I miss you. Your spirit for life is something I will never forget and will make sure I mimic every single day. Not only the love and interest that you gave to Haley, Ryan, and I, but the life you shared with Grandma for 64 years is something so rare and has raised my bar tremendously on what love should look like. I will forever be grateful for how involved you were in all of our lives and all the memories we got to share. Like playing tennis with you 3 weeks ago, you coming to OU to speak to all my classmates about the Holocaust, Disney, Outer Banks, and of course, on that Wednesday, getting to FaceTime you in your happy place, the office. And of course, also getting to spend time with you in Arizona. They were so special, each and every one of them. Coming to visit you for your birthday in Arizona, just myself, watching you play tennis, and introducing me to all your friends with the biggest smile on your face, I've never been so proud to be your granddaughter. Everyone always came up to me and told me what a great guy you were and how lucky I am. They didn't have to tell me to know. I was beyond lucky. Because of you, I also get to live this lucky life. Everyone who knows me knows my dad, and I have a very special bond. One I am extremely grateful for, and the reason I am who I am today. For almost every hour-long conversation I have with my dad for advice, he always ties it back to life lessons, stories, or anything Grandpa gave to him. You shaped one of my favorite people in this world, and there's no words to describe my gratitude for that. Without your courage and strength in your youth, my parents would have never met, and my siblings and I would not have each other today. Again, something I am extremely grateful for. I love you so much, Gramp.
The support my grandpa showed truly meant the world to me. There are so many memories that I could speak about, but the trait that sticks out the most is how invested he was in my life. Every time I would see him, he would ask how every friend of mine is doing, knowing their names, knowing where they worked, where they lived, and all their future plans. He would even sometimes ask about past teammates of mine that I haven't even thought about. By just being himself and caring about each and every person he met, he touched so many lives and created a clear picture of how I want to continue his legacy. Once I was done playing baseball and entered the real estate world, there was no one that wanted to help me and see me succeed more than Grandpa. Sitting at the office with him and going through all of his past accolades, deals, teaching moments, and everything else he wanted to talk about, I will always cherish. Being able to live a life where I could go to work and be with my dad and grandpa every day gives me a feeling of gratefulness that words cannot express. The legacy our grandfather has left behind is something we will all remember and work towards continuing each day. There's nothing he would want more than for us to be positive, be happy, work hard, and live life to the fullest, and that is what we will all strive to do. As we celebrate his life, we will never forget how lucky we were, and all of us were, to have him in our lives. We love you, Grandpa.
Let's rise now for the memorial prayer.
למלא רחמים, שוכן במרמים, המצא מנוחה נכונה, תחת כנפי השכינה, במחלות קדושים הדהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים את נשמת אברהם בן נחמיה ופריידל, שהלך לעולמו, בגן עדן תהי מנוחתו. הנבא לרחמים, הסתירהו בסתר כנפך לעולמים, ותצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתו, אדוני הוא נחלתו, וינוח בשלום על משכבו, ונאמר Amen.
May we remember all of the worthy and the righteous deeds that he performed in the land of the living. May his soul be bound up in the bonds of eternal life. God is now his portion. May he rest in peace. And we all say Amen. Let's be seated. We want to offer our condolences to Charlotte, to John, and Mike and Ellen, to Cindy and Abby, to Howard, to Haley, Jamie, and Ryan. We are now going to pause in the ceremony to allow us time to move by processional to the burial spot, and then the family will be receiving visitors for Shiva at the Village Club, 26000 Village Place in Beechwood. That begins today immediately following the burial service. So immediately following the burial service until 4 p.m. today, and then again 7 to 9 this evening at, again, 26000 Village Place, the Village Club. Tomorrow, hours of visitation between 1 and 3, and then 6 to 8 at the same address. Wednesday, October 8th. There are hours that are determined, or we're still going to determine. That's okay. We can also notify people. We're going to keep the same hours, or? So not in the afternoon, but afternoon. Okay. So 1 to 3 and 6 to 8 again? We're good. 1 to 3, 6 at the family residence. At the family residence. Let's remain in our seats for a few more moments. I'm going to ask the pallbearers to come forward, and we'll arrange the processional. Shamayim va'aretz. Al yitain lamot reglecha al yonum shomrecha. Hine lo yonum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha yad yinecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka v'yarech v'layla. Adonai yishmerecha mikol ra, yishmerech hashecha. Adonai yishmer teisat v'bracha, me'akav yadorah.